Is the AI boom of today a bubble? A big one, maybe. Potentially even bigger, perhaps riskier, than the dot-com frenzy back in the 90s. 2-sec silence. That's quite a thought, isn't it? Especially when you think how much AI is already, part of things. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to pull back the curtain a bit on some really big recent insights into this AI landscape. It's moving so fast.
Yeah, it really is. Exponentially fast, it feels like. Almost impossible to keep track of everything.
Right.
Absolutely. So our mission today really is to try and cut through some of that noise for you. We're going to take a journey, look at a few key things. First up, the big money questions. Is all this AI hype sustainable, really? Then we'll switch gears, look at some fascinating actual applications, things happening, on the ground, industry moves, stuff away from just the stock market headlines.
And then finally, we're going to wrap up with something kind of mind-bending. An idea that might really change how we think about AI itself. What if all these different AI models, what if they're all basically learning the same thing, converging on some kind of, universal understanding?
Exactly. It's a wild concept. Makes you stop and think.
Okay, so let's start there with that big claim from the top. We've been looking at what Torsten Slick, he's Apollo's chief economist, has been saying, and he doesn't really pull any punches. He says today's AI boom is more dangerously inflated than the 90s tech bubble.
Wow.
And this time, he argues, there's just much more at stake.
Yeah, and what's really striking is the data he points to. He looked at the top 10 companies in the S&P 500. You know the ones. Nvidia, Meta, Microsoft, Google, Amazon. His internal numbers are saying they're more overvalued right now than the biggest tech names were back then, like at the absolute peak of the late 90s.
That is a really strong statement. What's behind that, specifically?
Well, it's their price-to-earnings ratios, PE ratios. He calls them dot-combusting levels. And for anyone maybe not tracking markets day-to-day, the PE ratio is basically how much investors are willing to pay for, $1 of the company's profit.
Right. High PE means high expectations for the future.
Exactly. But dot-combusting levels, that kind of suggests expectations might be, let's say, a bit out of whack with reality or potential reality.
And what's different this time? If he's right, if it is a bubble, what makes it different from the 90s one?
The big thing, and this is what makes it kind of concerning, is the concentration risk. It's extreme, almost 40%. Think about that. 40% of the entire S&P 500 is tied up in just those 10 companies.
Wow.
So if you're just buying a broad market index fund thinking you're diversified, you're not really. You're making a massive bet on AI hype continuing.
So if those few stumble,
the whole market feels it, much more severely potentially than back in the 90s. It really makes you ask, how much of this value is real, tangible stuff, and how much is, just hype, belief.
It's just staggering amounts of money moving around. And we see these huge financial plays that seem to, feed that bubble perception. Nvidia, for example, reportedly planning to spend $500 billion. On AI factory.
500 billion, it's hard to even picture.
Right. And then Meta.
Yeah.
Supposedly offering like $100 million signing bonuses for top AI people.
100 million for one person.
It's a talent war out there, for sure.
And it keeps going. Amazon maybe putting another $8 billion into Anthropic. And OpenAI, remember they bought Scale AI for, $14 billion?
Yeah.
And then pretty soon after laid off 200 people. It makes you wonder about the strategy sometimes. Is it real growth or just grabbing land in a gold rush?
If you look at the market sentiment overall, it gets even clearer why people are using words like frothy. There's this index, the BUZZ Next Gen AI Sentiment Index. Tracks AI hype with retail traders, basically. It's apparently up 45% in just 16 months, trading 29% above its 200-day moving average.
Which is pretty high.
Yeah, the 200-day average is a key thing traders watch for long-term trends. Being that far above it, it signals extreme optimism, almost like you said, a fever pitch.
Right. BT's analyst just came out and said it's looking very frothy. That's the direct quote.
Very frothy. Okay.
It really does feel like everyone's jumping on the same train and it's just going faster and faster.
So let's connect this back. What does this mean for you listening right now if this bubble or frothiness or whatever, if it pops? Well, the good news probably is it won't kill AI itself, the tech.
Yeah, just like the dot-com crash didn't kill the internet.
Right.
So that
Exactly. The underlying tech is definitely moving forward. That innovation is real. But that doesn't mean Nvidia should be priced like it's going to run the whole global economy.
Fair point.
So the fallout from a big correction could be pretty rough. It could hit general market funds, maybe even hurt funding for new AI startups trying to get off the ground. So thinking about right now, this market, What's the biggest immediate risk for an investor, would you say?
I'd say overexposure, being too heavily invested in just a few of these really volatile, highly valued companies. If expectations slip, losses could be significant.
Okay, let's pivot then. Away from the finance side, the potential frothiness, let's look at what's actually happening on the ground. Because beyond all the market talk, there are some really interesting real-world uses and industry moves going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's kind of wild is how fast some of these tools are scaling up. Look at Perplexity, the AI answer engine. They partnered with ITEL over in India, offered free Perplexity Pro for a year to all 360 million of ITEL's customers.
360 million.
Yep. And boom, Perplexity shot straight to #1 on the app charts in India. Overnight, practically.
That's a whole new level of user acquisition.
It really shows a new model for getting AI out there globally super fast.
Incredible reach, and it shows people really want these tools. But speaking of services, there's this interesting point Mert Davici made, that maybe AI won't replace a lot of services after all.
Oh yeah, why is that?
His argument is, basically, customers want to pay software prices for software, not salary prices.
Ah, okay, makes sense.
So if an AI service costs as much as hiring a person, maybe people just stick with the person.
Yeah. Yeah, who wants to pay a robot a full salary for, like, writing emails? There's definitely a psychological thing there. Definitely. And then on the voice side, Hume AI, their EVI 2 model was already pretty cool, making AI voices sound unique, kind of emotional. Now they've got EVI 3 out, supposedly captures even more personality, more nuance.
So what can you do with that?
Well, think about building really natural language coaches or podcast hosts that sound totally real, or even like compassionate AI companions. It's about making AI interaction feel much more human.
And here's something I think a lot of our listeners will find really interesting. An OpenAI researcher who actually just joined Meta gave this 30-minute masterclass online about how to create wealth in the AI economy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it apparently got like at least 1 million views super quickly.
Wow. People are clearly hungry for that practical side. How do I actually use this stuff?
Exactly. It shows AI isn't just abstract tech anymore. It's affecting careers, business models right now.
And for practical tools that kind of do things for you, there's Perplexity Comet. People are calling it scary good. No. Imagine an AI assistant that hooks into your app's email, calendar, project tools.
Okay.
And just does stuff for you autonomously. They highlighted like 10 powerful use cases, summarizing meetings, drafting complex emails.
That sounds like a proper assistant, finally.
Feels like a real step towards AI that doesn't just respond, but takes initiative.
That could be a huge productivity boost. And speaking of things taking off, another funding story that's just explosive. Lovable, the Swedish AI app builder.
Lovable, yeah. Heard about them.
They hit $75 million in annual recurring revenue in 7 months.
7 months, seriously.
Yeah, 2.3 million users, 180,000 paying customers. And they just raised $200 million Series A at a $1.8 billion valuation only 8 months after they launched.
Okay, that's insane growth. Just shows if you build something AI-powered that people actually need.
It can scale incredibly fast. So looking at all these different applications, Perplexity, Hume, Lovable, what's the common thread? What stands out about how these tools are actually finding their place?
I think it's that they're solving specific high-value problems. They create real value for users, and because of that, they can scale with just unbelievable speed.
All right, let's shift again. Just a few quick hits now. Kind of snapshots of how AI is evolving day by day almost. Lots of little interesting bits.
Okay, rapid fire. We saw this piece on 10 examples of how brutal robot testing made them more robust. It's kind of cool looking at the extreme engineering needed to make physical robots tough enough for the real world. It's not all just software.
Right, the hardware side. And Elon Musk's XAI, they're launching something called Baby Grok, a chatbot for kids learning.
Huh. AI for kids. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Shows how it's moving into education and, sensitive areas. Raises questions about safety, too.
Definitely. And for users, anyone trying to get better results from AI. Anthropic put out some advice on writing effective prompts.
So that's useful.
Yeah. I mean, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself sometimes, You start asking for one thing and the AI kind of wanders off.
Totally know what you mean.
So yeah, any tips on prompting are gold. And another practical thing, DuckDuckGo, the search engine, they added a feature to let you block AI-generated images. if you want to filter those out.
Oh, interesting. Giving users control over authenticity. And then on the policy front, kind of big news, Meta decided not to sign the EU's AI Code of Practice. After reviewing it carefully, they said no.
Okay, why is that significant?
Well, it signals a potential split, right? Between how major tech companies and regulators like the EU see AI governance shaping up could mean different rules in different places, raises questions about how global companies navigate that.
Okay, so just from those few quick examples.
Right.
Robots, kids chatbots, prompting, image blocking, EU codes. What's the main takeaway?
I'd say AI is getting really specialized really fast, and that's creating totally new needs for users and definitely raising some tricky new regulatory challenges. Mid-roll sponsor read placeholder.
Okay, let's unpack this next part, because here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. The big idea we sort of hinted at earlier. Imagine this. What if all AI models, all the different ones, different companies, different data, what if they're all fundamentally learning the same core thing? Like they're all uncovering pieces of the same universal puzzle about how the world works.
Exactly. That's the fascinating premise here. The idea is, as these models get bigger, get more complex, get smarter, essentially, they start learning the same basic relationships about the world. And they represent those relationships inside themselves in ways that are surprisingly similar.
Even if they were trained differently.
Yeah. It kind of suggests there might be one ideal sort of universal way to understand and represent knowledge, and maybe all these big, powerful models are just converging on it. Like they're all accidentally tuning into the same, I don't know, cosmic frequency of understanding.
And this isn't just like a philosophical idea someone had.
No. MIT actually put out research formalizing this in 2024. They showed that bigger models, both for vision, like understanding images, and for language, they learn features internally that are strikingly similar.
So basically, the smarter they get, the more their internal maps of the world start to look alike.
That's the gist of it, yeah. It's like they're all finding the same fundamental patterns in reality, no matter what specific data they started with.
Okay, wow. Now, the really wild part of this research you mentioned. Trying to turn the AI's internal thought, that abstract number stuff, the vector, back into the exact words that went in.
Yeah, that's the really hard part. Like trying to rebuild a complex blueprint just by, I don't know, feeling the vibes in the finished building. It's super difficult.
So how on earth did they manage that?
Well, they use this method, iterative refinement, and millions, literally millions of queries, basically asking the AI again and again, is this closer? How about this? Refining the output until it matched the original input.
And did it work?
One team hit 94% accuracy on long sentences.
94%.
Yeah. Think about that. They could take the AI's abstract internal state, its thought, and translate it back into perfectly readable human language.
That's like getting a peek inside its head.
It really is a remarkable glimpse into the AI's sort of cognitive process.
Okay, so if this is true, if all big models are essentially starting to speak the same internal language, what does that actually mean? What are the implications practically, philosophically?
Oh, the implications are huge, potentially revolutionary, honestly. If we can really understand this universal internal language, we could build universal inverters, tools to actually understand why an AI gives a certain output, not just what the output is.
Which would be massive for trust, for debugging.
Exactly, for finding hidden biases, for making AI more transparent. Huge. And it could mean we can translate between closed models, making different AIs from different companies maybe built totally differently, making them talk to each other seamlessly.
So like a Microsoft AI could understand an OpenAI model even if they weren't designed to connect.
Potentially, yeah. Imagine the possibilities for combining different AI strengths. Interoperability could just explode.
Okay, that alone is huge. But you mentioned going even further.
Right. So if there's this shared structure of understanding, maybe it could help us decode things we don't understand, like ancient human texts. Think about Linear A, the Minoan script. We still can't fully read it after decades of trying. What if an AI, seeing these universal patterns, could crack it?
Whoa. An AI unlocking secrets of human history. That's humbling.
Oh, isn't it? And then, here's the really mind-bending one, the one that makes you question everything. What if we could talk to whales?
Talk to whales.
Yeah. There's already Project CETI using AI to try and decode whale communication. If there is some kind of shared conceptual space, this universal language, could AI bridge the gap? Could we find shared semantic structures between human thought and whale thought?
Whoa.
Right. Imagine scaling that. 1 billion queries. Maybe it decodes ancient languages. Maybe it lets us communicate with another intelligent species on Earth.
That just, wow. It makes you rethink what intelligence even is. Artificial, biological.
Yeah.
Yeah, breathtaking. So does this convergence idea, does it mean AI might one day actually understand us? Not just process our words, but get the concepts, the feelings behind them.
It certainly suggests a path towards that, a shared conceptual space, a deep structure.
Yeah.
It feels like it could bridge human and AI thought in a way that goes beyond just processing, maybe towards real comprehension.
So, okay, we've covered a lot. We navigated the choppy financial waters of the AI market.
Yeah. The frothiness.
Right. We've seen all these diverse real-world applications popping up everywhere, scaling incredibly fast. And then we peered into this possible future where AI models might actually share a universal language. It's quite the deep dive, from economics all the way to, well, philosophy almost.
Yeah, and I think the key tension is clear, right? Despite all the market craziness, the volatility, the hype, the underlying technology is advancing, seriously advancing. And it keeps revealing these profound, almost philosophical questions about intelligence, about reality, maybe even about ourselves.
So as you go about your day today, maybe just take a moment to think about this. If AI models are converging on some single ideal way to understand the world, what does that tell us about reality itself? Is there some inherent structure just waiting there to be discovered by any intelligence smart enough, whether it's made of silicon or carbon? And the follow-on question, could this shared internal language of AI actually lead us to discover some universal truths? Truths about intelligence itself, both the artificial kind we're building and the biological kind we possess. It's definitely a question worth pondering as we all move into this future. We really hope you feel a little more informed after this, and maybe a lot more curious. Thanks so much for joining us on The Deep Dive. Audioro Music.